A couple of days ago, the Department of Homeland Security shared this meme video out on their official X account, and I'm sure most people have probably seen it by this time, but for those who haven't, here's just a brief clip from it.
I wanna be the very best.
Yeah, so you get the idea of what they're doing with this sort of thing.
To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
So you get it. I mean, it's just kind of a meme video just playing on Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. Instead of catching Pokemon, it's ICE catching illegal migrants. Personally, I think they could have gone a little bit further with this. With the use of AI voices nowadays, they probably could have actually changed the song. So instead of saying to catch them is my real test, is to train them is my cause, they could have made it change to say like, I don't know, to catch them is my mission, to deport them is my cause. I mean, something like that, but you get the idea. This is just a joke video, but there are some people out there who are legitimately mad about this and are wanting the Pokemon Company and Nintendo to sue the Department of Homeland Security, but there's a lot of reasons why that'll likely never happen, and also why it probably wouldn't be a good idea for the Pokemon Company to even try to do that. But before we get into all this, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you can, leave a comment and hit the like button too, because it helps me out. Pokemon unlikely to take legal action against Homeland Security for using its theme to promote ICE raids. This is coming from The Gamer right here. So article starts off just kind of explaining what the video was like I showed you, and then it goes into this. The video makes light of arrests, likening those arrested to Pokemon, and coupling the montage with the caption, "Gotta catch them all." See, that's really the only reason why they want to do this. I mean, they could have just also tweeted out a picture that just like in the Pokemon font that says "Gotta catch them all." It looks like it's a Pokemon, but it's ice raids. I mean, that would be kind of funny right there, but they went an extra step and tried to actually cut and actually put together that montage. A tagline Pokemon has used since its inception. Despite all that, Don McGowan, who was the Pokemon Company's chief legal officer for 12 years, explained to IGN why his former employers would much rather ignore all this and wait for the situation to blow over. So it's not as if he's someone who's currently at the company, so these aren't necessarily official statements from the company. This is someone who has a pretty good idea on like how they operate as a company, and this is why he thinks that they won't actually pursue any legal action. Now, could they? Sure, maybe he's just well off base on this one, but this is the reason why he thinks that they won't do anything. So I don't see them doing anything about this for a few reasons. McGowan said, first, think of how little you see the Pokemon Company's name in the press. They are insanely publicly shy and prefer to let the brand be the brand. The article goes on to say he's right. It's not often that you get a response out of the Pokemon Company, even when it does something fans hate. So yeah, just if it's a meme, if the company doesn't like it, just sit tight, and then it'll blow over in a few days like everything does, especially since this isn't necessarily even reflecting badly on them per se. It's just one of their properties being used in a manner that they might not have otherwise authorized. Second, many of their execs in the U.S. are on green cards, McGowan added, admitting that even though he was the most trigger-happy CLO he's ever met, if he were still a part of the deciding on what to do in situations like this, he too would opt to leave it well alone. This will blow over in a couple days, and they'll be happy to let it. Saying that there's executives who are on green cards, I think that's kind of to imply that if they go after this, then ICE would come down on them. I don't see that happening. It really does feel like an unnecessary detail, but I mean, I'm still going to include that in this video because that's the quote that he said on this one. But I think this is really the meat of all this. This will blow over in a couple days, and they'll be happy to let it. And that really just kind of comes back to the first point: is there's really no reason to address this publicly. It can only cause headaches for them, and they really don't need to because, you know, there's probably not, it's not going to affect them as a company. But also, I think this is probably the most important factor, and something that he didn't bring up, that if they actually do try to pursue a lawsuit with this, they likely wouldn't win. Now, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. I'm not claiming to be, but as someone who does YouTube videos and who will occasionally have to use copyrighted material, I mean, technically in this one, I had to use the song for copyright that's a copyright song in my video. So whether or not I have to actually, that falls under fair use, I kind of have to at least have a basic understanding of what constitutes fair use. So here's the law right here. So, and this is what it said for the, let me see. The fair use of copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction and copies or phone records or by any means specified by that section for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is fair use, the factors to be considered shall include. So these are 4 factors that a court would consider whether or not something falls under fair use. And here's what they say. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. So if you're making money off of something that's fair use, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not fair use because you make money off of it. I mean, you can still make money off of something. The nature of the copyrighted work. So what are you doing different from the original? As we can see with the DHS video, they're taking the song and basically just adding their own footage over top of it. So it's clearly different from the original one. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And that's another important factor too. How much of the work are you using to parody it or satirize it? Because if you're just gonna, let's say, stream a whole movie on YouTube, but you just have like a face cam in the corner and you do nothing, well, then you're not really changing anything. But if you reacted once and be like, no, this is a reaction video, see, I reacted at this part, it's like, well, then why did you show the whole movie if you're going to only react to this one portion? If your reaction is supposed to be the video that gets attention, that's transformative, then you have to clip out only that portion. You can only show that. You can't show the whole thing because basically you're using too much for what you're trying to get across here. And that's something else that's in the, whether or not something is considered parody or satire. The effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. So are you infringing on the actual market of the original copyright holder? So that would be the arguments and the things that the courts have to consider whether or not DHS is allowed to actually post that video. Now, I've looked up a number of cases on this. This is one that I think is kind of applicable to what's been going on with this one, but I'm not a lawyer, so I could just be well off the mark. But here's what this says. So Leibovitz versus Paramount Picture Corp. And this is from 1998. So plaintiff Annie Leibovitz took a famous nude photograph of then pregnant actress Demi Moore for the August 1991 cover of Vanity Fair. So obviously I can't show that photo on here, but I mean, you could Google that if you want to find it yourself. It's not too bad, but still, I don't think YouTube would allow me to post it. Defendant Paramount, in connection with its forthcoming release of the motion picture Naked Gun 33 1/3, produced advertising material that included a headshot of Leslie Nielsen superimposed onto the body of a nude pregnant woman, posed similarly to Demi Moore. When Leibovitz sued for copyright infringement, Paramount asserted the fair use defense. So this is how the court ruled in favor of Paramount on this one and their rationale behind it. That the commercial use is not presumptively unfair. The court found that the parodic nature of the advertisement weighed in favor of finding a fair use. In addition, the court found that under Campbell v. Acuff Rose Music, this case right here, copying more than what was necessary to conjure up the original work would not necessarily weigh against fair use for parodies, and held that defendant's extensive copying was for the purpose of parodying the original photograph. So, like I said, showing a whole movie when you're trying to react to just a small portion isn't fair use. But if you're trying to copy a movie to basically evoke that exact same thing, but just have like a different spin to it, then that works. That's kind of like how Weird Al gets away with a lot of his songs. Now, I think he pays a lot of the people that he parodies. He'll pay the people he parodies his music to for, but he doesn't necessarily have to do that. He just does that just because he wants to. But if he actually wanted to just say like, no, this falls under fair use, then he could probably get away with that one because he's actually trying to evoke that song, but just with a different spin on it. And that's why it works for what he does. Finally, the court found that the parody did not serve as a market substitute, especially since plaintiff conceded that the use did not interfere with any potential market for the original or derivative work. So what they were doing with their advertisement for the movie didn't take away the market for the photograph that Annie Leibovitz took, and that's why she ultimately lost her lawsuit with Paramount. So where does that bring us when it comes to this DHS video? I think it pretty much meets the same criteria as that one case where I just pointed out right there, and there's a lot of other ones on this. I just For the sake of brevity, I don't want to go into all the ones that I was able to find. I've found quite a few, but that's just one that I think is the most prominent and most relatable to this one. They're copying something because they're trying to evoke Pokemon as far as gotta catch them all, relating that to the ice raids. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious what they're doing with that sort of thing. And also, this video doesn't take away from the market of Pokemon or doesn't hurt them as a company in any way, shape, or form. So that's why the Pokemon Company doesn't want to actually pursue legal actions, because not only does it actually bring a lot of unneeded attention to them in a manner that may not actually look good, but if they just did nothing, then this will blow over. But if they actually tried to pursue this, then it'll just create a bunch of legal hurdles for them and a huge hassle that they really don't need. And what's the result of all this? It's not like they're going to get paid out. The Department of Homeland Security be like, okay, fine, we'll take it down. And that's pretty much it. So is it really worth it to pursue a lawsuit of this? Probably not, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this. I'm thinking nothing, but let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to hit that like button, share the video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.